All right, so yeah, right. Hello and welcome to HealthCast 305, Miami's #1 health-related podcast. All here to help you guys learn about your health, get stronger, get healthier, feel better. I'm your host, Dr. Rob Pozak. I'm a physical therapist in the region. I do concierge, in-home, and in-gym physical therapy, wellness, and rehab sessions for all you people, get you feeling and moving right. And today we have two more people that I think everyone will appreciate because they do it a little differently than some of the people that we've worked with before. We have the international holistic healer himself, Dr. Arturo Mesquite. So there he is right there, everyone. And we also have his global relations leader, Annie Tlatelpa. Did I say that correctly there?
Well, Hani, but it's okay.
Oh, yeah. I was so focused on the last name. I always say Annie, but this time I said Annie. I was so focused on getting that's so crazy. I was so focused on the last name right, and I got the first name wrong. All right, so so can you guys, we'll start from the top, because I met you about, so last year at some point we just discussed, it was last year I met you guys, and we talked a lot about what you do, because I was marketing, I was looking for people that are in similar fields and all that, and I came across you guys and it was great. So tell me a little bit about how you guys or I guess specifically this would be directed towards Arturo, but how did you get started with your practice with this alternative medicine? Because it's definitely blown up, it seems like, in the years that you've been doing it.
Yeah, it's happening now, especially these days. People are looking into alternative medicine. And I was, to go back, I would say sometimes we are chosen to be in some, it's like, I call it destiny in one way or the other, because I've tried many times to do other things, but it would always bring me back to health and healing. I used to be a caregiver from the age of 16 to the age of 20. And so that was I was very observant to what was going on. And I noticed that the Western approach were not helping my employers at the time. I would clean them, I would bathe them, I would feed them, and noticed that they were deteriorating, and they would take a lot of medicines to heal, and it didn't do the job. That's what I thought to myself, something's wrong here. There's wrong, something doesn't work. And my curiosity, I just wanted to understand, what is it about healing? I don't want to be 60, 70, 80 and be lifeless. And that's how it all started for me. And I think that also my own personal struggles, if I look back, I would say I'm lucky, because how many of us choose, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why am I struggling? And I chose to use the word what. What can I do? What needs to get done now? So I was always active, always wanting to know, to understand, to heal my own pain, and also noticing the environment. So that's how I got started.
Okay, so humble beginnings. You were starting as a caregiver, and then you realized some of the things that you probably wanted to work on with these people. So what was the education process like from that point on? I mean, you at this young age, you realized what you wanted to do. So what was it like from then until now that brought you to the point you're at?
So I was hungry for knowledge, and I haven't stopped. I think that I am learning here and there. I'm less than before, but I was always learning something new. And I think when you have an open heart, open mind to learning, things come your way. So I have worked with 4 shamans who taught me. And I also did the training as a Ph.D. But the real training, I think, is on a day-to-day basis. As you start working on yourself, working on the environment, and in terms of the training, endless training, from shamans to alternative medicine to even in some way Western medicine. I mean, it's as I look back, my goodness, I haven't stopped from learning, because the body, it's so. I think I've only tapped into the body, I would say 1%.
Yeah.
There's so much to learn about the body. But at the end of the day, we want to simplify it for the patient. We want to make it
Exactly.
very simple, not complicated. I want to get, most people want to get fixed yesterday.
Yeah.
There's no wait. There's no waiting period, especially now with the social media. Everything it's on an instant. So my game in the alternative medicine is to find a program that is quick and fast, but to get you the results. And that's part of my training, constant training, and trial and error. I think I treated more than 6,000 people, and you start noticing things that work, things that don't work, things that you made mistakes, wrong approaches. So all those experiences allow me to be where I am today. And with Ani, she's someone who, I think I did a show on TV, and Annie was struggling with personal issues as well. And she you came to Miami, right, Nani?
I did. We met in Miami.
Yeah, she came to Miami, and we did she started the program, the mastery program, which it works on different levels, from working on resetting the body, which I will explain later,
Mm-hmm.
nourishing the body, and also clearing you of things that hold you back from personal barriers, self-doubt, unsolved issues with your parents, not being clear of where you're heading. And all those things is what I do with my program, so that we can get you somewhere. And so I work very hard to get my patient where they want to be. And that's I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, no, that's answered it and more. So how did you meet Ani? So you talked about how you met Ani, but Ani, I guess this question would be good for you too. Like, what was your interaction with Dr. Mesquite? Your first experience, because clearly it was pretty substantial, because you are totally sold on it, and you're the global relations person. So, and the way you speak about him when we met and when I talked to you since is just, there's a lot of passion behind it. So how did that all begin, and what did he do for you specifically? Just for kind of, it's always good to hear a patient's perspective, you know?
Totally agree. Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So I was really ill for about 7 or 8 years. It started with, like the good old gluten, avoid gluten, you have celiac, and then that turned into avoid dairy, and then that turned into avoid everything. So by the time I met Dr. Mesquite, I was eating boiled chicken, butter lettuce, peeled tomatoes, and a half a teaspoon of olive oil. And even then I was struggling. My digestion was terrible. My brain fog was terrible. I had really high anxiety, panic attacks. I had zero libido, and I was 39 years old. There was no reason why a woman my age should have completely lost their libido at that age. I was desperate. I was miserable. I was married. I am married to the love of my life, but I told him, listen, I think you need to find a woman who's functional. I owned multiple businesses, and I just wasn't able to function. And my husband actually saw Dr. Arturo on the Univision morning show, Despierta America. And I had seen everyone. I had seen about 24 gastroenterologists. I had seen therapists, massage therapists. I work with best-selling authors. I had seen 14 endocrine specialists working on my metabolism. I had also gained about 35 pounds in a very short period of time. And we saw, my husband saw what Dr. Arturo had done, and it was a very different approach than anything I've ever seen. And my husband said, I think you need to reach out to him right away. And I did. And I remember we had about a 30-minute conversation, Arturo, and I knew that this was going to be it. So within 2 days, I was on a plane to Miami, and I did, the mastery program starts with phone work, and then there's always in-person sessions involved. And I'll let you explain the neurological resets. But I did these 3 neurological resets, and after the first day, my digestion was completely different. I had energy that I never felt before. I mean, instant rapid changes. I went for a 4-hour walk, Dr. Rob, around Miami. I felt alive again. And then after my second session, After the second session, I felt a little bit like certain things were kind of surfacing in my body and they needed to come out, but I wasn't sure what they were. And after my third session, which was life-changing, I always
Mm-hmm.
say this is where I totally fell in love with you, Arturo. It was just, he touched something physically on my body, which released such an emotional component. It felt like 500 years of worry, stress, trauma. I was seeing childhood photos of things that happened that I didn't even think were in the realm of remembering. I heard every negative thing I ever said to myself. And after that third appointment, it was like the weight of the world had been lifted off my shoulders. And I had this chronic neck pain for about 2 years that was completely gone. I felt happy. I felt at peace inside. And from there, we started to work. We started working on the phone. And like he said, we touched on family issues, cultural issues, self-belief issues, all of these limited beliefs that I had in my head that were literally hindering my day-to-day function. So at the time, I had everything on paper. I had a successful business, a happy marriage, 2 beautiful children. You know, I had everything that anybody could want on paper, but inside, I was really struggling with myself and, what my purpose was in this world. And after those sessions, I had a very clear picture. So as Dr. Arturo always likes to say, chop wood, carry water, we just started working at all my personal limiting beliefs and all of the cultural traditions that I was kind of torn in between following and doing what I really wanted to do in life. And from there, I just said to him, listen, whatever you're doing, I need to be a part of this. I just want to be around you, even if you let me change the towel underneath the massage table in between patients. And having a sales and marketing background, I think Dr. Arturo saw something in me, and my changes were so rapid, and I was compliant. That's a big thing, right? Arturo, I
Yeah.
always tell him, if you tell me to walk to Antarctica over fire, carrying 300 pounds of coal, that's what I would do to get better. So compliancy, I'm sure you can relate, Dr. Rob.
Yeah.
That's a big issue because everybody, like Dr. Arturo said, wants to be healed yesterday. But unfortunately, not everybody's willing to put in the time, effort, energy, and work that it takes to get there. But if you do, I can tell you very, very rapidly, things that doctors will tell you, you're just going to have to live with that, or this is just how you're made, or you're just going to be overweight your whole life. There's nothing wrong with you. All of those things fall away when you really give, like anything in life, 100% commitment and 100% dedication, because Dr. Arturo gives you exactly that. He gives you 100% commitment and dedication. All you're required to do is give it back and you will get the results.
Wow. So Dr. Arturo, like when you first came across Ani and you heard all these problems, what were you thinking? Like, I mean, this seems like incredibly complex. I mean, for me, as a physical therapist, I'm sure people think that when I see people with physical issues, but like, where do you start? Like, where's the average like place that you start with the average patient coming in? And maybe use Ani as an example because she's right here and she can vouch for it all.
I would always say the more complicated, the better for me.
Mm-hmm.
But when we do a strategy call, we do a free strategy call to hear them out, to see where they are and how committed they are. If they're not committed enough to get them started, I don't take the patient because
Yeah.
it's a co-piloting. We have a tendency to go to a doctor fix me. But when it comes to alternative medicine, I think it's about growing up. It's about taking charge of you, of taking be fully responsible for what's happening to you. If you're not there, you feel better, you feel worse. You just bound. I call it bouncing. While
Mm-hmm.
I was working for Passages, the rehab center in Malibu, I worked there for eight years, and people would come there, and a lot of them were not ready. No matter how even if they stayed 3 months, some of them were forced to stay there, and I would call them floaters because they're just floating, not clear with where they are, and they're not ready. And as you know, there's got to be a level of commitment to work on the body, on the mind, on the emotion. It's self-care.
Yeah.
And receptor, and there's no other way around it. And it's even if as simple as my work, I believe that my work has been very simplified. Even still, you need to spend time to work on yourself. And with Annie, she had all those issues, but she had the attitude. It all comes down to, what is your attitude? Do you really want to get better, or are you just bouncing? And some patients are not ready, so we don't take them. It's because I don't want to waste my time, and it's not, at the end of the day, it's not about making an extra buck. It's really contributing something that someone can their lives get transformed, and then they tell somebody else. So at the end of the day, it's an investment, but it has to come from both. It's got to be a co-piloting effect.
Yeah, because in the end, it is about meeting them halfway. Like it's about having your patient actually give you roughly what you're putting back into them. Because in the end, if they can do that for you, then you can actually see a lot of benefit on both sides of the aisle. So that's always a good thing too. So so Ani, when you received some of this first treatment, what was the feeling like releasing that pent up frustrations that you were just mentioning earlier, those pent up like frustrations that you had built up for all that time? How did it change in your life? How did it change with your husband and your career? Was that very noticeable, I'm assuming?
It was instantly noticeable, and I instantly felt like who I was, and my confidence was returned. And I looked at my husband, I'm like, oh, we're on, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not going anywhere. And just overall confidence. I mean, I remember returning from Miami. I walked in my restaurant. It was about 7:00 on a Friday night. And my employees literally were like, you just walked in here and lit up the whole entire place. Just that overall feeling of misery and gloom and doom was gone. So I don't know. I just felt lighter in my step. I felt energized, more focused, more clarity. I mean, I definitely was like, what the heck just happened? You know, because it was, Dr. Arturo does use, you know, he uses his in-person treatments as well as quantum physics and logic. But a part of you is left scratching your head, like, how did he do this? You know what I mean? So you're kind of wondering, like, this is part of this healing is almost like, you know, surreal. But once you have all these things lifted from you, you just know where you're going, and it becomes very clear. And of course, with the neurological resets, restoring your energy, restoring your digestion, restoring your vitality, these are all things that obviously you need on a day-to-day basis to get by and function in life. So you just feel yourself functioning at a higher level. A lot of my issues had disappeared right away, and some of the deeper ones we continued to work on over the next, you know, month or so. But the, you know, digestion became fine. The physical pain in my neck was completely gone. What do you call it? The chronic fatigue was gone. The brain fog was gone. So, you know, I had, on paper, I could have listed, you know, a million diagnoses from the doctor, you know, general anxiety, depression, panic attacks, you know, dysbiosis, irritable bowel syndrome, chronic pain. And all of them just seemed to cross off the list one by one. And the emotional part was a little bit deeper. We continued to work on that. We worked for about 2 months, right, Arturo? We worked a lot on the emotional portion of it. Yes. And we just started digging deeper and deeper. And the methods that he taught me, I still use to this day. I mean, this was years ago. And I still take time for myself in the morning. I still do my morning formula. A lot of things that he taught me in the form of self-care really serve me to this day. And they go a little bit deeper than the typical, you know, meditation, yoga, calming, things like that. So he gave me really useful things to use to move forward in my life, to keep myself in a space where I'm feeling good. And then I do my maintenance. Like I just did a maintenance appointment with him 2 days ago, and wow, you know, he evened out. I had a stimulated pituitary gland that was making me feel very overstimulated. Like I couldn't hear music, I couldn't put on the television. It was just felt like information overload. And within the first 15 minutes of my tune-up, it's like everything just came back down. And I could have never fixed that myself. I mean, how do I know that I have an overstimulated pituitary gland? I'm not a doctor, you know?
Yeah, right. So Dr. Arturo, so when you when you conduct these initial evaluations, assessments, what are some of the things you're looking for, and what's the scenario like? Like, is it a quiet, specialized room, or can this be done over it sounds like it can be done over the phone, but I could be wrong, or maybe Zoom calls, especially with coronavirus nowadays, they don't want to go out as much.
Right.
So what's like an example, what people can expect on the first and follow-up appointments, like how to carry through this plan of care?
Okay, so usually it's a phone session. That's the strategy call, and we
Yeah.
get a sense of either Annie or myself, get a sense of where they are and what's the issue or issues, and then from there, I would say, if let's say the person is having a lot of physical issues, a lot of physical pain, I would say let's do the in-person first. So we would do what is called a jump start, and usually it's 3 sessions to get you started. And let me explain what the treatment is all about. The body is like a computer, and the hard drive is the brain. Sometimes, let's say that you have a knee problem or a back pain, you can inject, you can put creams, massage, and things like that. But not until the brain recognizes there's something going on the lower back, the body will continue doing its own thing. It will be on survival stages, always surviving. And so there will always be inflammation. So we need to change the signal, because the brain is the motor, and every cell, we have more than 50 trillion cells in the body. Every single cell is like a little antenna waiting for the brain to tell it what to do. And also the environment, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, all those things give the cells info to either shut down or open up. And so with my work, with my neurological treatment, is to reset the signal so that the chi or the energy starts to flow in the body, so your innate intelligence can do what it's supposed to do, heal itself. It's not like I am the master of healing. I'm not healing anything. I'm just supporting the body or the innate intelligence so it does what it's supposed to do. So that's the hands-on. I call it the reset. It resets everything from immune, especially these days, immune to lymphatic system, to bones, muscles, joints, and so on and so on. So when the body's being reset, then we need to nourish the body. We need to nourish the body. But I'm not your typical nutritionist either, because nutrition, even the Eastern approach, it didn't do it for me, because I was very sick. I was working at Passages, as I mentioned, and very stressful, a lot of work, very successful at the time as well. But the stress level was so high, so I crashed. My body crashed for 2 years, and no one could help me out, from my mentors, Eastern, Western. I spent thousands of dollars, and no one can heal me. So during those 2 years, I had to go a little deeper with my training, with my nutrition, with my holistic approach, and discovered a lot of things that no one will ever teach you. And that's how I came out of that situation. And part of my nutritional program is based on that experience. It's connecting your metabolism through your thyroid. Thyroid is the director of the metabolism in the body.
Yeah.
So that's nourishing the body via nutrition. And the last one, as you know, we come into this world without a manual. There's no manual. There's no owner's manual. You just gotta go as you go. If your parents are messed up, no, you take that with you, plus the environment that you're in, right?
Yeah.
So then I would always say, from the time you're in your mother's womb to the age of 7, you become a sponge. You absorb the home-based environment. And then from the age of 7 to the age of 14, you absorb the outside world, school. And so those 2 phases in life, from the age of 14 to the age of 21, you start to develop a personality, good or bad, but based on those 2 experiences, is what it makes you, but it's not always good in many cases, as it was for me. And so what I at the end of the day, I mean, I may have all these bells and whistles, but At the end of the day, I'm a teacher of higher learnings. I help you grow up, not grow up in what we know, but grow up as a spiritual person, because we're all spiritual by nature. And that is
Mhm.
my job at the end of the day. Is I use all these tools, but let's get you into a place where you are in charge of your energy 100%. No one runs your energy but yourself. So that's in a nutshell.
Yeah, it seems like
And
you're basically creating an environment for your patients to succeed. It's not like you're like manipulating their brain, but you're creating the environment with what you know to assist in these people getting better. Is that kind of an
Res-
interpretation?
yes, respecting what the body's magical. And I have a slogan: find your magic, because it is magical. I only know 1% of the magic. um, the body can do a lot of things, but we sit on it. We don't look at what's inside that box, the treasure. And
Hmm.
there's once you start opening up those cells, you start looking at different perspectives without expectations, without the need of something, and you just show up to life. You're present. It's magical. There are no words to describe what it is to be present. I mean, most of us live in the past or the future, bouncing back and forth. When I leave, I'm staying away from the past because it hurts. Maybe the future will give me something, and it's the waiting effect. And that's the thing that we got to get rid of, especially now with there's so much fear going on with the pandemic.
Yeah, and you were mentioning how people could benefit from. I mean, well, I had thought how people could probably benefit from your services in relation to the coronavirus. And is there anything that you have at least that addresses people's stress in these times, because people are losing jobs, they can't afford their house payments. There's a lot of people that are stressed out. So do you have a specific plan for that, or do you at least mold some of your treatments towards that?
Yeah, I mean it's not an easy question, because as you know, it's a global issue. And I think that all of us are affected one way or the other. But at the same time, it's a great opportunity to get to know you, to spend the extra time that you're spending at home, to look at yourself and see what is it that I want, and what am I doing with my life. And the simple things in life, the nature, sunlight, eating healthy foods, closest to the ground, not so much processed foods. Why am I stressed about? Why am I angry about that happened 20, 30 years ago? Can I let it go now? Right. So
Hmm.
it's about reflecting where you are, and not let the circumstances put you into the why me. Why can I pay the rent? Why this is happening to me? I think it's more about what can I do now that I have this opportunity to look at myself. If
may I
I've
add
gone,
something in there too?
yeah.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, since the whole pandemic happened in March, what Dr. Arturo and I have done is just change the way we offer our services a little bit. So typically, like he said, when we take a patient, if a patient is on board, depending on if the issues are more physical, he'd like to see them in person first, and then make his recommendations from there. Now, what we do, if the person's in one of the cities that we work out of are willing to come, and depending on what the situation is, he'll always start with the in-person with proper precautions, of course. If not, what we do is he'll start with the remote work, phone work, which is done via phone and Skype. And from there, he can actually do a lot over the phone for anxiety. I mean, obviously, right now there's a lot of anxiety is prominent, depression, suicide is at a very high rate, divorce, things like that. So there's a lot of things that Dr. Arturo can work with patient on the phone as far as calming the waters, putting them in a better place, putting things into perspective, and alleviating symptoms as well. I'm not quite sure how he does it, but there's a lot of things that he can alleviate just from simple phone work with him over the phone using his tools. So he can always start there until we can get to the person. So it's just a case by case basis. What I do is when I speak to somebody, I try and best figure out what approach is going to be best for them. And then what's the fastest we can get to them to start them on their healing journey. And then we figure it out from there, because the times are a little bit different right now. But we can
Yeah,
always make it work. If somebody wants help, we can always give them help whether it's in person or via the phone, we always figure it out.
So the nutritional program, as well as the in-person, the self-discovery work, all of that is done over the phone. So anyone can benefit, even if they don't do the in-person, they can benefit from the nutritional and the emotional healing as well. When it comes to energies, I think that we tend to personalize our emotions, but at the end of the day, it's just an energy. For example, if somebody says, I feel trapped, and they feel it in the body, fully stressed out by just saying I am trapped, it's just a story. So utilizing my consciousness, I can tap into where that energy is stored in the body, because we start creating little vortexes of memories of abandonment, rejection, betrayal, injustice, humiliation, and all these codes are constantly being activated. So what I do, I start to remove all of those energetic codes, so you feel more neutralized, so you feel more in your presence versus the past or thinking about the future. Does that make sense to you, Dr. Rob?
Yeah, it sounds like you're finding the issue and you're addressing it, and it ends up panning out to be it comes across on the molecular level. It sounds like from each
Yes.
standpoint. So
I would say
As-
we've
as-
done
as-
mostly in the pandemic. Would you agree, Arturo? We've dealt mostly with relationship issues and anxiety. Like a lot of
Anxiety,
relationship
yes.
issues have come up, and there's a lot of anxiety. So that's been, especially March, April, May, June, that's been the majority of our incoming. Now we're going back a lot to the physical issues. We deal with autoimmunity a lot, physical pain a lot. But in the height of the lockdown, we were dealing with a lot of relationship issues and anxiety.
yeah, and that makes total sense. People are cooped up in the house together and they can't do much. So this is probably going to be make or break time. I just had a psychotherapist on a couple weeks ago, and he talked about that too, how it's like it's been he calls it an adjustment disorder, where it's like everyone has to adjust to this new stimulus that's been very stressful for them. So some people it doesn't work out so well, and some people it has helped actually, but it seems like that's where you can step in, Doc.
Absolutely. It's utilizing your emotions. I mean, emotions, your mind is an instrument. It's not your master. So we get caught up on all of these stories. And so the mind can give you, I call it the over-worried mother, always worried about you and nothing's going on.
Yeah.
So we got to question the conditioned mind. Is it really true I feel trapped? Is it really true that I'm trapped? And so when you start bringing consciousness, when you start bringing in the emotion, open heart, open mind, a lot of beautiful things can happen. But we don't give the time. You know, we're so busy, we're so caught up. We get into the alcohol, into the drugs, into sex, and always disconnected from feeling. And today it's a great opportunity to challenge yourself, to look at the fear. If you made it this far, I'm sure you can make it even further. That's what I would always say, because life didn't, the challenges didn't start with the pandemic. I think being a human being is not an easy. It's not easy being a human, right? So we have things that we struggled in life as an adolescent, as an adult, and we're carrying all those things. So it's not like it just all started when the pandemic started.
Yeah. So in other words, the pandemic could be like the straw that broke the camel's back, right? It's like
that's right. Yes.
They were already on the brink of something,
Yeah.
and then this global pandemic happens, and it's game over, right?
Threw
Even
everyone
for me,
right over the edge.
I had to learn a couple of things during the pandemic, and I'm so grateful for it. So I took advantage of it.
Professionally or personally?
Personally and professionally.
Okay, yeah, because you got to learn how to deal with this new situation, right?
Yes.
Crazy stuff. Well, thankfully,
great times.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look at it the positive way, which is
if you look at it
like
positive way.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about mindset. Like you're saying, just like
mindset.
Everyone talks about positive mindset and how it's good to be successful, positive mindset, good stuff. Good. You don't hear about how to deal with the negative mindset much, right? People make jokes about it. They make memes and stuff all over Instagram, how they're depressed and socially isolated, and they put like a meme. But like everyone else like talks about how like you go reach for the stars. They're posting on their Instagram, because they're motivating themselves, which is great, and it's good to think that way. But I guess a lot of people don't really have the tools to get out of these depressive situations.
Yeah, I think that the tool that I can give the person is to what is your priority? Prioritize. You know, is it health my priority? Is it work priority? Is it family priority? Is it self priority? And then from there, start to break it down into what is it that I need if relationship is a priority. What is it that I need in order for me to be happy in a relationship? So we start looking into the expectations, and so it's almost like a self-analysis, and that's a very simple. I don't have the magic pill to solve all the issues, but at least start to question things that you didn't have the time to question yourself before.
Well, that too, Arturo. And also, I remember when I was going around from doctor to doctor, I remember being told, you know, if you could lower your stress, a lot of these things would just go away. And everybody says lower your stress. I remember a lot of things I was reading, lower your stress, but nobody tells you how you can do that. So I was doing, you know, the meditation, I was doing yoga, you know, but with the program, I feel like it really lowered my stress, my reaction to things, the way I react to things was different, all the way down to little things like, you know, I'm from New York. I lived in New Jersey 21 years. I'm in Miami Beach now. I mean, I was like going at 100 miles an hour all the time. I never even looked up and smiled at anybody anymore. And I mean, when you start being able to have the peace in your mind where you can smile at people walking by, it really does affect your vibration in your day to day. It's something so simple, but how many times do you walk by and smile to people and they look like they're going to kill you? I mean, you know, so now, I don't know, it's just different. Life looks a little bit different. It's a little bit sweeter. I mean, living a passion that I never thought I could with a total career change. I mean, I definitely recommend if you're struggling internally, externally, if you're struggling with yourself or somebody different or your health, I definitely recommend people reaching out because at this point, it is an out-of-the-box treatment. It does require you to participate, but it really is life-changing. And now's the time to change.
Annie's it's a great opportunity. Annie's a great example. She's someone who didn't stop. As she mentioned, she has seen many doctors, but she didn't give up. So she had the attitude to find out, what is it about my body? Why is my body failing me? And so all these years of working on herself, look at her today. Annie, she sold her business and her husband, and they moved to Miami.
I didn't sell my husband. I just sold my business.
Traded him in for 2 goats.
and Annie now is doing DJ. She's a DJ. I mean, I would never think that Annie would be a DJ, but she loves it. Things that you would never think. I mean, maybe you can explain better, Annie. But that's
Dr. Rob, I didn't even have time to listen to music a year ago. I mean, it's like a total 360. You know, so I just can't explain. Talk about living your life passion. So,
yeah, it's not even like you're way less busy than you were last year. It's just that you've been able to manage your time and not be stressed about it as much.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, you're not only you listen to music, you're a DJ at the Boho Lounge.
I sure am.
Boho Lounge.
Boho
I've been
Lounge,
there.
yep.
It was cool. I liked it. You and your husband are a cool duo up there.
Thank you very much. We're there every Tuesday, 5 to close.
Great vibes.
Come anytime.
What was the style of music again? Can you repeat it? Because
we do Afro house music and world music.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's definitely like I said, it's just different enough where it feels good. It's not the same stuff you always hear, but I was liking it. It's like in the background and it keeps you energized the whole time. So
Absolutely.
that was really
and
nice.
It's very rooted music. It's got a lot of drums. It's got a lot of soul. So I mean, I love all types of house music, but and I play all kinds of music. But for boho, we do Afro house music and world music. I call it desert house too, but I think that's a genre that I made up. But that's what we play.
When you said desert house, it makes sense. I imagine myself on a journey walking through the desert, and I'm listening like. It's cool. It's just if desert house works.
It works, right?
You should own that brand and trademark that. Right?
I should trademark that and make that a new genre for sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't been yet. We should probably cut this part out of the episode just in case someone snatches it right there. So a couple more things. I know Dr. Arturo, you got to go. I don't want to, I feel like I'm keeping you long here.
That's
But
all right.
with the city thing, Ani, that you were talking about, that's totally true, especially in Miami. It can be really, it's a big city, and obviously now it's weird because of coronavirus, but it's a big city, but people are really busy and they're a little cold. People can be cold towards you, and you end up being cold towards them. And in New York City, like you're saying, like that's got to be even crazier. New Jersey, um, even crazier, because it's like people are so zoned in and they don't want to bother anyone, and they come off as rude, especially in Miami, because there's a lot of different cultures and stuff, and people are in their own realm. Sometimes they don't even speak your language. So, at least in my case, so it can definitely get depressing, right? And it seems like you can't control them. As long as you can control your response and how you put yourself out to those people, that seems like the best bet. Like I was out the other day and I was kind of like making jokes and talking to people around me, which is so weird because it's been so long since I've had that opportunity. But we were going to Koyo and I like saw it, so I was just
I
talking.
love Koyo.
And it was awesome. And I was noticing people were responding and being friendly, and I'm wondering if coronavirus is making people a little bit more appreciative of these situations because they've been cooped up for so long. Maybe it'll be a good thing in terms of people
I
and their
sure hope
responses.
so.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I dropped my bike. I was at Trader Joe's and I put my groceries in my basket, and to long story short, I dropped my whole bike on my face.
Oh
And I was
God.
like, oh my God, I broke my nose. And like a bunch of people rushed around. This was probably back in May. A bunch of people rushed to help me, and like they all ran and then stopped. And I was like, oh my God, this is like the new normal. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. I'm like, don't worry about it. But so I've had some really good experiences, and I've had some really rude experiences. Like I had a car accident and like nobody cared. They were like, just get the heck out of my way. But yeah, I definitely think being more self-aware and doing self-work, I don't know, like you said, standing around and making jokes with people. I mean, we're here to connect as humans. Dr. Arturo told me one time, Ani, at the end of the day, no matter what anybody does to us or for us, like everybody just wants to love and be loved. So I repeat that often. So when somebody hurts you, or when somebody does something mean to you, or when somebody makes you feel a certain way, that's not yours to own. If you think about it, everybody just wants to love and be loved. So why not just give love?
Exactly, right. They need some
Hmm.
there's a couple options, and if we all decide to do it, then it's a win-win. That's how I've always been. Sometimes it feels like if you're too much like that, you'll get trampled all over, but if we all slowly make those decisions, I'm sure it can get better. So
Well,
that's what
give
I
love,
feel.
but take no, you know what. So
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's an interesting
give
combination,
love,
right?
but take no. Yeah.
Yeah, the Miami, it's all about that. So, Dr.
Yeah.
Arturo, tell us a little bit about your mastery plan, because I was reading up on your website a little bit and I saw
Yes.
this concept of the mastery plan. What's that all about?
The mastery plan is years and years of trial and error, trying to find a program that can be useful for people who are ready to work on themselves. It's basically combining everything that I've known throughout the last. I mean, I started. I started back in 1993. I was working with helping a shaman, and because I used to have a lower back pain, and I got so inspired that I asked him if I could just work for him, and so from 1993 to the current date, so years and years and years of putting all that together. And the mastery program is 3 steps. We reset, we nourish the body, and we clear the mind. So it's all packed together, and it's 2 months or 8 weeks work. A lot of the interactions will be over the phone, emails, and texting, and the in person. So that's the mastery plan. It's a jump start of your life in all levels, on a physical level, on an emotional level, on a metabolic level, if you want to lose the weight.
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah,
So, yeah, that seems like the thing to look out for, because that was definitely a cornerstone of some of the things we've talked about today as well.
that's right. And I will be in New York next week from what is it? From Thursday
The
till
10th through the 13th.
yes. So if anyone is interested, that's when I start. I have patients in New York where we do
most of them are follow-ups. Most of them I have them on maintenance, and but it's a good time to dig a little deeper on your issues. I think that I would say 80% of people have some kind of an issue, either digestive, pain, can't sleep,
Energy.
low energy. Something is going on and it's no greater time than now. I mean, if you reached your limits with the Western approach, it's a good time to start looking into alternative medicine.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is that the Western approach solely bases a lot of its things on, at least from some point, I don't want to make any broad ranging statements, but at least some people will prescribe a lot of medication. And as we know, at least for physical therapy, movement is lotion. We don't want people getting on painkillers. And just like for neurological or psychological issues, there is a place for these things, but it's also good to get your mind right in a conservative manner, a way that you can actually take charge of it yourself. That's where it's all going to start from. It's like these medications should be more of like a supplement as opposed to a reliance that you have to do your whole life.
Absolutely. I mean, the Western approach has its place, but a lot of times you will reach your limit.
Mm-hmm.
I would always say, how many times do you change your phones, your iPhones, or your what do you call the other phones? Because I use iPhones.
Yeah.
Every few years, right?
Yeah,
So
every couple of years.
Why do we change the iPhones?
Because the times change. You want to keep up with technology and have all the cool new stuff.
Okay.
That's how I think about it.
Same thing with the brain. The brain, sometimes you're running on dial-up. So the signals are really slow from the brain to the rest of the body. So when you do reset, it's like giving you an upgrade. It's I mean, it's pretty straightforward. With Annie, I gave her an upgrade 2 days ago. She had some I call it the when they say the files that have viruses.
Yeah.
So remove the files and reset and gave her an upgrade. So that's as simple as it sounds. That's what it is.
It sounds like the background of my computer right now is almost totally full with files, so it's really stressful on my MacBook. So I need to put them all and organize them in the folders so I can stop stressing about it so much.
Well, think about it. You see, you hear, you smell, you eat, you taste, you touch. It's a lot of info. I mean, too much info for the nervous system to absorb on a 24-hour basis. It's a lot of info. And so the body goes, what do I do with this? I don't know, just put it on that side. And then the years pass, and now you have breast cancer, right? So we've got prevention is very important. To prevent, to keep the system moving, it's the key. And it's, don't wait until you have something, some issue, because it may be too late. So we want to start now. Even if it's baby steps, if you ask the question of what can I do at home? Well, start with looking at what you're eating. If it's all packed, it has no vibration. Closest to nature, higher vibration. So it's a lot, using your mind to look at your environment, and I mean, there's no magic to it. Either you open up or you close. If you're in a relationship that is keeping you closed in, you know that it's not working out. But there we are, right? We stay there for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And we gotta be honest with ourselves. We gotta say, okay, how do I feel? Am I open or am I closed in? It's very simple. It doesn't require thousands of dollars to understand the basis of life. Open up or closed in.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add something too, if I can. We were just talking about traditional medicine with medication, which again, there is definitely a time and a place for. And then a lot of, I had worked with about 12 alternative medicine doctors before finding Dr. Arturo. And yes, I did have a lot of, I did see some good responses to things, but a lot of it was mostly testing and supplementation. Dr. Arturo doesn't work like that. He doesn't give you $3,000 worth of supplements and now your countertops are covered with supplements. The reset, where he allows your body to heal itself, it genuinely works. So it's very minimal supplementation, if any. And he uses, means of kinesiology to find out if maybe your body does need a supplement, But if your body's not ready to digest or absorb it, he's not going to make you waste your money on it. So there's, you know what I mean? So now's not the time and place. So whereas traditional medicine has worked into just more treating symptoms and prescribing medication, and holistic medicine, I find, and there's a lot of great holistic healers out there, but I find that a lot of it has gone to testing and supplementation. You know, with the mastery program, a lot of the body just evens itself out, and it's able to work itself out with the resetting. And once you remove the barriers from your brain, a lot of people need to be removed the barrier of I can heal. A lot of people that have chronic illness, they don't even believe they can heal, Dr. Rob. Am I not right, Arturo? We treat a
Totally.
ton of
Yes.
autoimmunity where they're told, you know, this is how they're going to be: rheumatoid arthritis, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's. I mean, we treat a lot of that stuff where these people don't even believe that they can heal. So we have to get them to a place, and Dr. Arturo does an amazing job of very quickly making them feel hopeful they can heal. And that's half the battle right there. So it's not just tons of thousands of dollars in testing and a counter full of supplements. There's real healing that he does. He's very humble about it. And I know that you'll never say it, but I will. You do real healing with your hands and with your mind. And there's something to be said about that. There's no bells and whistles. There's no, it's just him and a massage table and his computer and his intentions and his consciousness and his mind. And he's able to bring real healing to fruition, Dr. Rob, where most of the patients that we deal with, we're their last hope. By the time they find us, or by the time they are willing to do what's needed to be done, they have done everything, and we are their last hope. And he was my last hope.
Yeah, it sounds like, once again, you're creating a hospitable environment for people to achieve what they need to do. It's like a plant. Like, you got to water it. It's got to be some sun, and then from there it can do its thing.
Absolutely.
And Dr. Arturo makes sure that this is set up, but there's a lot to it. So, I mean, the things that you explained to me when I first met you, I mean, when you talk about what he's done for you, it's so powerful. Like, in person, I was like, oh my gosh, this woman is sold on this, and that's what I need. And I've seen a lot of your work on Instagram, Dr. Arturo.
Yes.
How do people find you? I mean, how they find both? What's the best way to get in contact with you guys and learn more about this?
Well, they can go to my website, and it's called, my website is the corenaturalhealth.com, corenaturalhealth.com.
Core, like the Apple Core, CORE,
Yeah.
Core Natural Health.
And my Instagram, Arturo Mesquite with an S, MESQUITE, or Core Natural Health as well. I have videos there of patients who have given their testimony on their experiences. And so usually how I'm on TV a lot in Latin America and Mexico. We do a lot of TV work. So people, usually they just find me through TV and word of mouth. Word of mouth, it's a lot of where my patients come from, because people getting results from their friends and such. But the idea here is to, my joy, and we all have a joy, and my joy is to wake people up. It can be through the neurological treatments, through the nutritional, and through the self-discovery work. But at the end of the day, when you have an open heart, open mind, it creates a better environment for all of us. And that's my passion, is to bring that into everyone who walks into my life, is to wake them up and see all the possibilities that they didn't think they were possible. When someone comes in with a disease, so-called disease, I don't look at it from that perspective. And it could be a chronic disease, because you never know. You never know what the body can do when you start working with your innate intelligence, when you nourish the body with the right nutrients, when you get rid of baggage of a lifetime, when you get rid of all those energies, the body can do magical things. So that's my...
And he's not going to make you a gluten-free vegan. Like, I went from not being eating not being able to eat anything to I eat everything. I just ate pizza last night. You know, I had wine the other day. I mean, these are, you know, he's not going to make you like a gluten-free vegan. You know, people are always like, oh, what's he going to make me eat? And I'm like, no, it's very out of the box. So I eat everything.
Yeah, freedom is the key here, right? This is the USA.
Yep.
It's what it's all about. I mean, you
Yep.
were talking about earlier, Dr. Arturo, about eating things that are closer to the earth and more less processed foods. But Ani, just like you just said, it doesn't always have to be like that. And so it sounds really good that there is freedom involved, because yes, I think sometimes a lot of the benefits people see are maybe outweighed by the regimented scheduling and eating and rules that people will give doctors with medication, with eating food and anything like that, with nutritionists or dietitians as well. So it's good to have that freedom to kind of make your own decisions, but still be in control. You know, like, you know that, like, Ani, you definitely know what you need to eat to be healthy, but you know that you can eat pizza and drink wine, obviously, especially drink wine
Ani,
when you need to. Right? We all need to drink wine sometimes.
that's a good point, Dr. Rob. When I started working with Ani, remember, Ani, when I said it's not about dieting, it's not about getting rid of the foods, it's actually giving you the foods that you always wanted. Because sometimes it's it's not what you eat, it's what you can digest or convert it into fire. It can be something that you think is bad for you, or it could be a green juice. So it all comes down into what the body is doing to your metabolism. You know, now we're tapping into much. It's another topic when we talk about metabolism. But at the end of the day, it's not starving yourself or being on a diet. Is the opposite with my program, because it's about feeding 30% of the sugar, or 33% of the sugar that you consume converts into glucose. Glucose feeds, that's what the brain absorbs. It's about 30%. So we need to make sure that you're giving enough carbohydrates to your brain in order for it to function. But in this society, sugar is it's an enemy. It's no one is eating sugar because they think that sugar is the worst enemy. We just need to understand what kind of sugars it's such. Now, just one example of sugars, fats, and what do proteins do. All those things is good to know how your body is functioning by you and understanding it. And I think that we don't have the time to understand it. To see how the body is working on a day-to-day basis. So it is work. It's a little work, but it's not so complicated, because when you start seeing results, that's when patients go, oh, wait a minute. Now I have more energy. Oh, my digestion is better. Why not continue? So that's usually how I do it. I trick them.
You dirty dog, you. What were those shamans teaching you?
There's a lot of Jedi hackering that happens.
You like doing weird things over your face. I like it. Oh, whatever works, man. It sounds like you're doing very well, and you have a lot of locations. We didn't even really talk about the fact that you treat out of Europe, South Florida, California, and New Jersey, New York area.
New York, that's right.
Mexico City, Zurich,
City.
Madrid.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for. I was supposed to be in Switzerland on was it July? Then we moved it to August, then to September. So hopefully in October I'll be back in Switzerland. So that's where I also practice.
Yeah, that's cool that you have a Switzerland location. And obviously you can't go there because of the flights. Is that why the closing because of coronavirus?
Yes.
Oh, what a shame. Well, hopefully that solves itself soon. But as we know, don't stress about it too much, as I've learned from you. Is there anything else that I missed this episode that you guys want to get off your chest? Because I feel like we covered a lot. I kind of bounced around from some of the topics that I wanted to cover.
It's okay. Yeah, I feel like we always talk a lot when we're together, so it's okay. If I can definitely add, I mean, like Dr. Arturo said, the strategy call is free. You could talk to me. I'm here to help. I'm also available throughout the whole process. I love helping people. And my Instagram is ani.tlatelpa, TLATELPA. Or again, Core Natural Health or Arturo Mesquite, and corenaturalhealth.com. But the strategy call is free. I'm happy to talk to you. Even if you don't have a diagnosis or there's nothing wrong, but you just don't feel like your best self, we're here to help and make you be your, your best self possible and live your best life. I think that, like we were saying, I think that now's the time that a lot of people have been able to do a lot of self-reflection. And at the end of the day, we just want to help people feel their best. So if you're not feeling your best, please reach out.
Yeah, and you're a great advocate. So when I talked to you before, it was I felt like I was learning a lot. And obviously, I don't think this is like your opportunity to pounce and sell something. It's honestly a great advocate where it's like you've been through the process and you can speak with the potential client and just tell them what's going on, what you experience, how Dr. Arturo Mesquite can help, and see if that's a good match. And that's what these calls are all for. They're free and they're helpful.
Absolutely.
I would like to add
Sorry.
that no matter the situation, because we may think that there's no help we may think there's no help for me, but don't give up, because the help is out there. You just got to have an open heart, open mind, and keep trying, because for me to get where I am today, I had to go through different stages, different steps to find what I was looking for. And sometimes it takes a little work, but you will be so happy that you didn't stop. So don't give up. In alternative medicine, it's all about growing up, rising up from the things that limit us from not being oneself. So give alternative medicine a chance.
Yes, like a lot of people write it right off, and they're not realizing the benefits of it. I view alternative, like this kind of medicine, at least from what you're talking about right now, similar to like a integrated wellness type coach that knows a little bit about a lot of things, but has a specialty. So for example, like I'm a physical therapist. I provide people with help regarding some of the things they could eat, but I know who to like defer to when it becomes like a true dietitian type job. But it's about like that conservative approach, which is what I'm doing too. I'm preventing people from having surgery and from needing medications. And you in turn are preventing people from becoming dependent on some kind of medicated lifestyle that doesn't really take care of the underpinnings of the reason why they're coming in the first place, it sounds like. So
I mean, it's about also the working with the community, and that's the reason why we reached out to you, because I don't do what you do. So if someone needs, I can do the reset and then have someone to like work with you. It's such a great support for the patient. So working with the community as well is very important, and that's the reason why at the beginning we reached out to you.
Yeah, I love this podcast because it lets me learn about people. I can like basically have an hour or so to talk to someone and be like, is this person legit? So you guys already passed the test. You guys obviously, I got to pass your test. So thank you very much for coming on today, guys. It was great talking. We had a good mix of experience and someone who's experienced the benefits of the procedures and the person who conducts them. And remember, Boho
and a great host
on
by
Tuesdays.
A
great host. Oh, God. I'm still learning.
I'm
trying the new microphone position today, so it looks like I'm eating it. But
I like it.
I just realized I see a lot of people on podcasts. They do this. They rotate and they kind of talk into it. So I think I'm learning like how to look like a real like podcaster, which is, that's so 2020.
I like the background.
It looks good on you, Dr. Rob. The headphones, the mic, the curtain.
Yeah, right. It's kind of weird. The curtain's weird. I might have to get some kind of glowing light back here or something just to make it look even.
No, we'll
cooler.
Do a disco ball.
Oh yeah.
No.
I can put like a little thing of you in the corner doing a DJ set right here.
Totally.
That's a different podcast.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do one for wellness and one for entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key. I'm trying to get good at this, so one day I can just have a podcast where I can BS with people totally, Joe Rogan style. You know what I'm saying? So that's the goal.
Totally.
Maybe.
Good job. Keep it up.
Totally.
Okay.
But listen, if anyone wants to have a good time and let loose with social distancing orders in place, you can definitely catch me every Tuesday at Boho, Miami.
Yeah, guys, it's really cool. I went there. I wanted to go again the following week, which I never do. I always bail and stuff, and I did again. But I would have. It was so good. I was like, I'm gonna go here like Tuesday nights if I'm taking people or hanging out with people there too. So thank you so much for coming in. I'm getting a call. That's annoying at the worst moment. Thank you so much for coming in, guys. And HealthCast 305 this is Dr. Rob signing off with Arturo Mesquite and Ani Ani Tlatelpa. Okay. All right, guys. Have a good day. Adios. Enjoy, everyone. Bye bye.